Right, a big warm welcome to all of our listeners who join us on the Under the Lights podcast with myself, Robert Blundell. Delighted to be joined today by the former Commonwealth and European flyweight champion, Connor Top Dog Butler. Thank you for joining us today, Connor. How are you?
Hello, Robbie. How are you, lad? You good?
I'm good, mate. Are you?
Yeah, I'm sound. Thank you. I'm all good.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Very excited to have you on. Before we get into the podcast, though, I do understand you've got an announcement to make. So, would you like to get that first, and then we'll go through the podcast as normal?
Yeah, definitely. Me and my team have had a little chat behind the scenes, and obviously I haven't been that active on social media lately, and people are obviously thinking what's going on. We had a few things going on behind the scenes, so it's come to the conclusion that I've announced my retirement from boxing. And it's a good thing, to be honest, Robbie. It's something that I've been waiting to share properly. I've had a few discussions, obviously, with close people and all that, they know, but it's nice to finally get it out there and reflect back on my career with yourself and someone who's seen it from the start when I turned professional.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think it's something that's actually finally good to get it out there, really.
Because you are still a young man, but it's in some ways you get any comfort from that. It has been your decision. You've retired from boxing. Boxing hasn't retired you, has it?
Exactly, and that's the
Yeah.
famous saying, isn't it? Like, leave boxing
Yeah.
before boxing leaves you. And fortunately enough, I know my last time out wasn't my best showing, boxing a little bit heavier and stuff like that. But with the stuff that we have had going on outside of the ring, fighters, as you know, they take that into the ring, and obviously you're trying to climb back to win the belts back, coming off a defeat to a great champion, Jay Harris, and obviously from there it's rebuilding again. And you know yourself, flyweights, we don't really get as much recognition as other fighters, and it's not
No,
even
totally.
about like a money standpoint, because I've done well. Everything I've set out to do in boxing and in life, I've achieved, and I've carried it through since I was like 12 years of age, and winning national titles, boxing for England, getting up to Sheffield, doing things like that, boxing all over the world, and then turning professional, doing all part of the job as a pro. You get support off people, off sponsors, off club mates. You get support off people outside of the ring. And I'm just fortunate enough to have had a lot of people like that on my journey. But I do think if I was a welterweight or an heavyweight, with the belts that I've won, I'd be a fucking millionaire by now.
Well, we will get through, and obviously you've touched on something I want to touch on later about obviously the flyweight. But as you said, you've done all this since you were a very young lad. You've had an unbelievable amateur career, a fantastic pro career. If we take it back to the very start, how did Connor Butler first find himself in a boxing gym?
Well, it's funny, to be honest, because a lot of people never ask that. When you turn professional, it's like your slate gets wiped clean. Obviously, people know you're from the amateurs local and probably all over the country, really. But how it started was I was born in London. My mum and dad are both Cockneys. I don't know whether you know that, but few people know
I,
it.
I, I have been told, yeah.
And long story short, my mum and dad split up when I was young and we moved away. And I started off as a Thai boxer. I used to do kickboxing and Thai boxing from a young age under a person who was very close to our family called Terry Butwell in London, in the East End of London, in the Bulldog Gym. And I won everything in kickboxing and Thai boxing, British titles, European titles,
At
absolutely
what age? At
everything.
what age were you doing that, Con?
I started when I was 5. I initially got involved in martial arts when I was 5 years of age. And it was a thing that my ma took me to after school. And from there, lad, just I liked fighting. Do you know what I mean? I enjoyed going to the gym and being a part of something and learning, staying fit. That's when I was a kid, and I ended up on a documentary, a Channel 4 documentary
Oh,
when I
did
was
you?
like 9, called Strictly Baby Fight Club, and there was like 4 or 5 kids that got picked out of the whole of Britain, and I was one of them. And the objective of it was to teach people about Thai boxing, really, but it ended up getting a bit of a backlash about pushy parents and shit like that. But from a young age, I loved fighting. Um, weren't like that I was involved in fighting in school or nothing like that. I just got put into something after school, enjoyed it. So me ma and me parents and whatever, they basically took me there all the time, and I was in the gym more than I was at home. And anyway, I went off track there. Long story short, when we moved away up north to Liverpool, I went to I had a fight. You'll laugh your head off at this. Not many
Go on.
people know this. So in Thai boxing, you get things called interclubs, and
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
what an interclub is, it's a skill bout. There's no winner or loser. It's just a skill bout. And I ended up fighting Nick Ball.
Did you?
Yeah. When I was 10 years of age, I fought Nick, who's a year older than me. And Nick fucking threw me all around the ring. He was a bit heavier than me, but he was sweeping me up in the air. And I never forget it, because from that, me and Nick become good mates.
Mm.
And I ended up moving to the Thai boxing gym that Nick was doing Thai boxing for. A fella called Mark Wilson, KB Thai. And KB Thai used to train in KBABC's gym.
Oh, okay.
So when we started going to that, I was getting to the gym at like 4, 5 o'clock, sitting around waiting to start Thai boxing. So me and Nick decided to start doing boxing. And from there,
And
lads,
that's how you
like
started.
4 o'clock, we used to be trained by a fella who's well known in Kirby called John Stanley. He's a PE teacher, he's a school teacher. He was an ABA champion himself. Him and a fella called Owen Ryan were both boxers for Kirby back in the day. And me and Nicholas started going to the 4 o'clock class, which was the baby class when we were like
Yeah.
9 or 10. And then obviously how the story developed in Kirby, a fella called Dave Kenny, a really, really close fella and well respected man in boxing. He ended up picking us up when we were 10 years of age, coaching us into national champions of schoolboys, juniors, youths. We boxed for England under him. And Kirby just become a massive gym, even though it had a lot of history. I like to think that me, Nick Ball, Bradley Strand, and obviously there were 7 England internationals at the time.
Yeah.
I'd love to name them all. I will in this video, but basically, I sort of look at it like we sort of got Kirby back on the map as a gym
Yeah.
in not only the city but in the whole entire country. Everyone knew if you come across a Kirby kid, you was up against it. You know what I mean?
So at what age did you realise did the boxing take over from the Thai? Was it
At
right
11
away, or
years
did
of
it take a
age,
bit of doing
because
both?
basically in Thai boxing, you could go in the gym tomorrow, have a little bit of something about you. You'd be fighting for a world title in a year.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure it's like that anymore, but when I was a kid,
Yeah.
there was like 15 British champions your weight.
Oh, yeah. No, I MC a bit of it, and there's been a few titles, but
There is, yeah. Whereas
yeah,
in boxing, when you win a national title, lad, you're the number one in the country at that weight.
yeah,
And not only that, when I was younger in boxing, to this day still, it's a lot more strict, and you're basically matched between age, weight, and experience. And then you become an open class fighter then. And you sort of become open class depending how good you are and how you get on when you're a kid. But with me and Nick and Bradley Strand, we sort of become open class at a very young age, because the way we were taught in the gym by Dave Kenny, Alan Strand, Owen Ryan, John Lloyd, rest in peace, he's
yeah.
just
Sadly
passed
passed
away
away
recently. It
yesterday,
is,
didn't
it's
he?
very
Yeah.
sad. But there was a good fundamental, and I'm a big believer in fundamental. Me in boxing, that's taught me from a young age is not only is it discipline, moral, and you're learning something every day. You're listening to people who have been there and done it, lad. And for me, that I never had a father figure in my life when I was young. So going to the gym and having these men teach me things and being part of a family in the gym, lad, that's what kept me in the gym and drove me to success.
Obviously, you alluded to it at the start there in our introduction. You didn't just have them things going on. You had a highly decorated amateur career as well. Could we try and list through the national championships that you actually won? Was it
Yeah,
at pretty much every level?
more or less, yeah. From a
Yeah.
schoolboy, yeah. So it was weird with me, because I remember you laugh at this because me and Nick come from a Thai boxing background, so
Hmm.
we were already experienced in fighting. So I was boxing kids. I remember this. I went in the schoolboys after 2 fights. John Lloyd said Connor Butler needs to have 2 fights so he can enter in the schoolboy championships. I was 11 years of age, and I got through the region,
Which
Merseyside and
isn't an easy
Cheshire.
thing to do either, is it?
No, but for me, lad,
Yeah,
because I was so
yeah,
light, when I was a schoolboy, lad, I got a walkover most of the time. So
yeah.
I got a walkover through Merseyside, and it was my 3rd fight, and I boxed a kid from Darlington. Not many people will be familiar with that gym now, but back in the day, it was a big gym in the
Hmm.
northeast. And I boxed a kid called Jack Edmonds from Darlington, the northeast, which is obviously like Sunderland, Newcastle, all that way.
Yeah,
And I remember I was getting in a ring in the Austin Rawlinson. It was
and
Liverpool
speak.
versus the northeast in the
Yeah,
pre-quarters of the schoolboy championships. And there were 7 Kirby boxers boxing that day. Brian Collins being one of them, Stephen Ferguson, me, Nick Ball, Bradley Strand. So anyway, I got in the ring. This kid who was boxing was 13-0, but I had no clue because
yeah,
Dave Kenny was the matchmaker at Kirby at the time, and he didn't believe in telling the kids obviously the records. He just believed in if you're good enough to go in the championships, you're staying in it till you win it, basically.
yeah,
And yeah, so he put me in, and I remember getting in the ring, lad. You'll laugh at this. Bearing in mind, I've had 30 Thai fights. I've
yeah,
fucking boxed all over the world Thai boxing, so I've fucking won everything. And I'm getting in the ring, and I'm unknown at this point. I've only had 2 bouts. This Jack Edmonds gets in the ring. 30, I think it was 30 kilo or 32 kilos. And Dave Kenny went at the top of the rope, oh, fucking hell. He's got an England vest on.
oh,
So I
yeah.
turned around and went to Dave Kenny, what's a fucking England vest? So I ended up going out and
Well,
punching fuck out of this kid at 12 years of age, beating him, clearly winning, and getting out the ring, and everyone was like, fucking hell, who's this kid from Kirby? He's just fucking battered the national champion from last year. But I didn't have a fucking clue about all this, lad. To me, it was just have a fight, get out, have a can of Coca Mars bar, and get a Mackey's on the way home if you're lucky.
do you think it was better not knowing because you could have put pressure on a young lad in your position, that couldn't it? If you'd have, I'm not saying you personally, but I mean other 12-year-olds, if they'd have known that, might not have been comfortable with it. Might be the way to say it.
Yeah, but back then, lad, for me, Derry will elaborate on this as well. There was
Yeah,
no social media.
yeah, he
So
said that
everything was
last week.
done in boxing off a site called Warrior Boxing.
Yeah,
And lads, we never had, we were just fucking about in school. We were drinking Lucasade instead of eating our lunch because we had to be bang on weight for the championships. But for me, lad, it never phased me. I weren't asked
yeah,
because I just used to like having the fight. I weren't really bothered about who it was I used to look at it like they've got 2 arms, 2 legs, they're the same as me. And it just used to get in there, and it's who can do the rounds better, really, innit?
yeah. Obviously, you alluded to there the kid got in the ring with an England vest on. You did end up with a couple of them yourself, didn't you, in the
I
end?
did,
But
lad, yeah. So
if you could talk through that, how did that come about being selected to box for England? And I know we'll talk about where it culminated for you, but what sorts of people were on squads with you, and where did you travel to as an England
amazing.
boxer? Yeah,
Brilliant. I've never spoke about it. The lads in the gym know, but not many
yeah,
people obviously know. Probably if they follow me on social media, they've seen it since I've been a kid. But
yeah.
basically, I got beaten in a schoolboy final by a kid from Repton called Levi Coates. The
Okay.
best southpaw you'll ever see in your life. Little slick traveller he was. He was
Hmm.
26-1, and I met him in the national final. And it was in Everton Park. By the way, Everton Park is the best venue, pro or amateur, to ever exist. And I know you was touching on it with Daddy, and he was saying the MEM was the best, but there's no place like Everton Park, lad, and they need to bring
No.
it back.
Yeah.
Because I had loads of schoolboy fights, juniors. I won loads of things in Everton Park, so it was good for us. Yeah, so I got beat by Levi Coates, and I ended up going to 3 Nations that was held in England. And he ended up completely changing up how I boxed him and schooled him in the 3 Nations. And that day, me and Nicholas were the first 2 Scousers, me and Nick Ball, to win a gold medal from the same club in the same tournament for England. which was the Three Nations, and I think I was either 12 or 13 then, and Nick was a year older than me. But a lot of people
God.
forget, like, when I first turned pro, moving on a little bit,
Yeah.
I went to ERT as a professional with my club mates, Nicholas Ball, Bradley Strand,
Yeah.
Alex Dickinson, Geoff Walsh, Harry Woods, and all of these fighters in the amateurs, lad, we'd won everything. We'd had
Yeah.
tons of reputation. We'd boxed for England, we'd won national titles. Harry Woods had over 100 fights as an amateur, lad.
Yeah. It's
It's
mad,
unheard
isn't
of.
it?
You know,
Yeah.
nowadays, like, kids are turning pro after 10 fights
And there was that many of you at the same time coming
in the
through.
same
You think
club.
you've pushed each other on?
Not half, because Dave
Yeah.
Kenny used to say it, and I'll always touch back to him for my amateur career, because without that man, the likes of me, Brad, Nick, we wouldn't exist today. I know Paul Stevo's got a lot of work been done in Everton Red Triangle with myself and some of the lads, but
Yeah.
Dave Kenny was the man who took us off the streets as kids and grew us
Laid the
into the fighters that
foundations
we
really
become,
as
yeah.
well. Yeah. Yeah.
Him,
So
Alan
obviously.
Strand, loads of other coaches that have never ever been heard of.
Mm.
But they were the men that moulded us to become the fighters that we are today. And I believe that's the truth behind it, you know what I mean?
So what age did you start going away to international tournaments?
From 13, I went to Ireland on my first ever England international tournament, and I was with a
Yeah.
lad called Andrew Kane, as we all know, the killer, the
Yeah.
hound. He's a bit older than me, Andrew, but I never forget it. We were stood in a line, Robbie, and you'll remember this. And when England v Ireland's a big thing, because Ireland have got tons of boxing's their biggest thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we were kids, so at the age of 13, I'd had like 20 bouts. I was boxing an Irish kid who's had 75 fights.
Yeah.
Because they used to class sparring as bouts.
Mm.
So, whereas we don't, in the UK, we obviously do.
Yeah. Are you there? Hello? Right, okay. It wouldn't be us if we didn't have a little technical glitch. I am still learning, Connor, but I think this is what makes it a bit more real that I'm not a professional doing it. You know what I
That's
mean?
the way it
But
should be, though, lad. Like, if it was my way, it'd be done on pen and paper, you know what I mean?
yeah, but we got back there. You went to Ireland for your first international contest. The lad that had 75 bouts because they count obviously sparring as bouts. So
Yeah.
that's where we were up to before the famous weekly technical hitch.
So, yeah, just to touch on who was on my team at the time, there was me, and I used to share a room back then with a lad called Vidal Riley, who everyone
Oh
knows now
yeah,
is the
yeah,
British
yeah, yeah.
champion. So me and Vidal were very, very close mates up Sheffield. He was from West
Yeah.
Ham at the time, from a famous gym with the coach being Mickey May and a fella called Mick Driscoll.
Yeah.
Andrew Kane was on the team with me.
Yeah.
One of the McCormack brothers, it was Luke McCormack, not Pat.
Yeah.
And then you had another lad called Haris Akbar, who I went on every single massive major trip with. Me and Haris are obviously really, really good friends. Who else was on that trip? There was a few others that you wouldn't. I think Saeed Iqbal, is he turned
Oh
pro
yeah,
now?
yeah, yeah. He's pro. Yeah.
So
Crawler
Iqbal
trains
was
him.
with me with his mate called Muhammad Ali. I don't know whether
Oh yeah.
you know a lot about him, but in the
Is he the
amateurs, this kid.
diabetic lad?
No,
Or
he's
not?
not.
No.
He was.
There's a diabetic boxer called Muhammad Ali as well.
So he
But
weren't diabetic. He was done for
yeah.
steroids, but he at the
Oh.
time he was ironing everyone out, like fucking
Mm.
finishing them. He was only 52 kilo, but he was an absolute beast. He lost to Shakur Stevenson in the World Championship final and
Bloody hell.
the Youth Olympic final as well. I think I'm
Mm.
not sure if I got that.
Yeah.
I can't remember. He got a
But
silver
these are
medal
all
in
in
one of them.
Ireland with you. All these
Yeah,
boxers.
this is when we were like 13. So
Yeah.
these kids haven't even like until we all turn pro, you look back at your old pictures and go, fucking hell, look what he's won this, he's done that, I've done that, he's done that. And
Yeah.
Ryan Garner as well. He was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I was with Ryan Garner in Russia, and this is a true story. This Ryan Garner won a junior gold medal in the Europeans, and nowadays everyone's a European champion as an amateur.
Mm.
Back in my day, lad, like a European gold was fucking. You went to Russia and you beat the Russian in the Russian's backyard, and you were lucky to get a draw. Do you know what I mean? Nowadays, kids are coming back with more gold medals than fucking goldsmiths. But lad, Ryan Garner won a gold medal, and Vidal got a silver in the same trip. And we were only 14. And when I come back to the airport, his ma gave me 20 quid for cheering him on, every fight, because I was shouting in the crowd, fucking do this, do that. And he won a gold medal in it. So I went to Russia 6 times as an amateur. And I boxed in 4 European games and 2 World Games. I walked away with a bronze medal in the Europeans one time when I was a junior, and that was at 46 kilos. And I boxed.
And what age were you then if you were a junior?
I was 15.
Yeah.
And I beat a couple of kids, and then I won the medal against the Hungarian for the bronze medal.
Yeah.
And from there I boxed the Ukrainian in the semi-final. Oleg Cheshkanovsky, or whatever his name was. He's a well-rounded amateur. I fucking punched fuck out of him, I battered him, and I never got the decision. Yeah. And I know everyone says it, but when you go Russian and you're giving Russians counts and they're throwing paper cups in the ring when you get beat, you're like, what the fuck's gone on there? And and I would have boxed an Azerbaijani in the final. Rufat, I don't know what his name was, but he ended up winning an Olympic gold medal in.
There you go. When you look through the trips you've been on, Russia 6 times, probably all around Europe, all around the world. Did you go to any countries that you've got any stories from of what it was like somewhere you'd never normally go?
Yeah, fucking Russia. We were in the middle of the forest in Russia. Not Russia, sorry, Germany. And Germany's a heavy place, yeah.
Yeah.
So we went and boxed in a tournament called the was it the Brandenburg or no? It was the Sven Lang tournament in Germany. And Alan Vaughan was our coach on the trip, and Paul Bennett. And as I worked up through England, from a schoolboy up to a youth, up to a senior, really, boxed for England every single age: schoolboy, junior, youth, senior.
Yeah.
And every time you go up on a platform, your coaches change.
Yeah.
So the majority of my success I had with 2 coaches. Well, there was more, but the 2 main ones were a fella called Mickey Driscoll from West Ham.
Yeah.
And a fella called Paul Bennett from Tower Hill. A Scouser, who's a GB coach now. Paul, he was... And funny enough, when I first went to KBABC, Paul Bennett was one of our coaches in KBABC at the time. So Paul's known me from the age of 10 right the way up to today. Just walk past Paul in the street and have a conversation with him for an hour.
And what went on in this forest in Germany then?
So, lads, it was mad. We got there, we weighed in, and they went, here's where you're staying. They walked us through all these fucking woods, put us in a hostel, and there was fucking 14 of us in one room on bunk beds. And we were all, as you do on England, I was a little fucking shit, mate. I got up to all sorts. So me and Callum Thompson, if you've heard of him.
I know him, yeah.
Callum was my best mate in school. We went through school together and we both boxed for separate clubs. He boxed for Tower Hill, I boxed for Kirby. And we both boxed for England together for years. So when we went up Sheffield, we were just roommates. Best mates growing up, best mates up Sheffield. And so they were telling us there was wolves and bears in the woods. And we were going, fuck off, no chance. You think you're in at home, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Going on walks through the thing. And you'd hear howling and shit. We were like, oh, fucking hell. We just got up to loads of mad shit. But I tell you where it was moody and you wouldn't think. Belfast.
I've been to Belfast a few times. So what was moody about there?
Mad. You never went Belfast with England wrote all over you.
No, exactly, yeah.
They were
I was going to say without
fireworks at us and everything.
So obviously we've had the very storied amateur career. At what age did you decide to turn professional?
So here's a lot of things that not many people know. Paul Stevenson knows, and obviously the coaches around the time that was involved with me. So I was winning everything as an amateur.
Yeah.
And at the time, Sheffield, I was on a thing called Emerging Talent with GB.
Do you want to talk the viewers through a little bit what that might be in case they're not familiar with it?
So when you box for England, people get England and GB confused. You
Yeah.
can represent England from a schoolboy right the way to a senior, and then you get these things called pathways. And there's 4 stages to Great Britain's boxing team. You've got the emerging talent, which is usually full of top top class juniors, top class youths, even schoolboys in some scenarios. Kids that are like winning everything, winning gold medals, winning medals abroad. They're smashing it, and then they bring them on the platform. So you go up to Sheffield 4 days a week for camps. You'd miss school, you'd go up, and anyway, when you got big tournaments coming up, you start mixing in with the GB fighters. At the time, on my GB setup for my weight, I was a flyweight, but I was a little bit less because I was still a junior.
Yeah.
I used to spar the likes of Harvey Horn, Joe Mafosa. I've even sparred Galal Yafai a few times when I was a junior and a youth. So because of my age, they don't take you on GB till you're 18, a senior. Peter McGrail and Dalton Smith were the last lads to get on GB at a very, very young age. They changed the age then to senior, obviously for the Olympic cycle. But the way it worked, you had emerging talent, which was full of young youths and juniors and top class kids. Then you went on to podium potential, which means you're now on the full Great Britain team. You're starting to get paid not by funding, because emerging talent fighters got funding. Whereas when you was on podium potential, you got full wages. They weren't great, but you didn't have to go to work. You was getting paid to train. Then from there, every now and again, you get your chance to get on the podium squad as a number 1 or 2. But it all started changing. The likes of on my emerging talent team was Ben Whittaker. I took Ben Whittaker for his first ever Nando's, and he bladdered it with red sauce. And I said, "What are you fucking doing?" Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everywhere you go, because of the relationships you build from an amateur. Like I went to Telford when I won the Commonwealth title as a pro on a Dennis Hobson show with Varney, and Ben Whittaker's pulling me back like that. And my bird's looking at him going, "Who the fuck?" But that's Ben Whittaker, that, and then all of a sudden he's all over the
going viral
TV, slapping people on the head. But yeah, Ben was hilarious. But yeah, some of the lads that I was on with, like you've got like Brandon Diord, fucking phenomenal fighter from Liverpool. I think he's the most avoided lad around flyweight and superfly in the whole entire fucking world, I'd say, because he's good enough.
British champion now as well, isn't he? So
exactly.
At Superfly, I think, is it?
Yeah, 8 stone 3 it was. But Brandon, like, fucking hell, lad, he's mustard. So's Andrew Kane. All of the Scouse lads that are coming through.
Yeah.
It's just a fighting city, and you just can't beat it. And when I was up there, I'll tell you who was good mates with. Funny this, we were away with the lads. Bradley Ray, he's only just come into light now.
Yeah, European champion now, yeah.
Bradley Ray, he'll laugh his head off if he watches this. He was from Manchester.
Yeah.
He was the only man on our team. So I used to leather him and go, "Lad, you're dying to be a Scouse at you. You're fucking..." And he used to go, "Fuck off." You're like all like that.
Yeah.
So the other week, we had a little team of schoolboys going to the whole box cup.
Yeah.
So I went away with Eddie and looking after the lads and all that. So I took them for the Nando's. So as we're walking in, they're all standing there going, "Fucking hell, that's Brad Ray." So I walked up, put my hands on his shoulders, and I used to call Brad Ray Tintin. That was his nickname. I used to leather him and call him Tintin. I don't know why, I just did.
Yeah.
And I went, "Yeah, lads, here's Brad Ray. This is the day before he become European champion." I went, "Next European champion." But I used to call him fucking Tintin, didn't I? And he was going, "Fuck off, you twat." Like. But the lads were all like, how do you know him? I went, "Fucking hell, lad, he was one of my best mates up Sheffield." Same as Dalton Smith. Fucking Dalton Smith was like, everywhere I went, lad, Dalton was with me, you know what I mean?
So what was the thought process of leaving that amateur scene behind and becoming a pro then?
So yeah, I keep backtracking, don't I, talking
no,
about
but it's good. They're not bad stories, though,
yeah,
are they?
my bird goes to me, "Fucking shut up. You sound like Jerry now, going on about a past all the time."
Hang on. No, there's no light bouncing off your head. You're all right.
Yeah, fuck, I haven't gone bald yet, lad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what happened was I got beaten in the ABA final by a kid called Kieran McDonald, and it was in Rainton Meadows, remember it? And everyone, there was fights in the crowd actually, because I fucking absolutely pinged him everywhere, but just
Yeah.
never got the decision. He's a good fighter, Kieran McDonald. I think he's the number one at flyweight up Sheffield now, but he had a style that was just all wrong for me. Just a big long southpaw, like to move. And I just like having a bit of a tear up. I can box and move, but when I was an amateur, I was a bit more aggressive. I used to counter punch on the front foot, and I remember standing there just before the decision, and I heard split decision, and I thought, what the fuck, no way. And they give it to him, and it was my first year in the senior ABAs there. And there's a picture in the paper of me just going down to my knees and laughing, and him fucking giving it the big one. But
Yeah.
he knows that day that I schooled him, but he was a lot older than me, and he was a big lad for a flyweight. And so, long story short, I sort of got knocked down the pecking order a little bit.
So I'm ringing you again.
So I was meant
So
to.
yes, go on.
Sorry, I know that cut off again there. No
Yeah.
one was ringing me that time.
So yeah, you got to the ABA final. You got a decision you felt went against you.
Yeah. So I started like going back down the pecking order. So there was a couple of lads at the time up Sheffield that were all moving about positions, getting moved from emerging talent to podium, from podium to podium potential because they weren't good enough. They were all mixing up the weights. And at the time, the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games were coming up. So I got a chance to box Galal Yafai on BBC iPlayer. This is when that started coming into the amateurs. Bearing in mind, I was 18, but I was a very, very good mover. And we used to spar, me and Galal. And listen, back then, years and years ago, Galal Yafai wasn't the fighter that he is today. And there was in my pro career, there was a chance that we could have met and stuff like that. But when we were amateurs, like when I used to spar him, I used to fucking run rings round him all day. He couldn't really get near me. He was a man, he was a lot bigger than me, and I don't know whether he was holding back or whatnot, but the rounds that I always had with him, I felt like I could hit him whenever I wanted, and there's witnesses to it, do you know what I mean? But he ended up not fighting me, and there was two other kids, a lad from Wales called Ashley Williams who didn't want to box me, and then there was a lad called Akil, I forget his name, from Scotland, who went on to represent Scotland in the Commonwealth Games. I went up sparring with him in Scotland and fucking smashed him all around the ring. And from that camp, that was me getting on GB. You know, I'm better than all these kids.
Yeah.
I've won everything. I've been on the system since I was 13. Like, that was my first taste of politics in boxing.
Yeah.
And lad, I'm not a fan of politics in boxing. It ruins fighters' careers. So, against the wishes of everyone, I fucked the amateurs off and turned professional with
So
Paul Stevenson.
what age were you then?
I was 19 when I turned pro.
19. So you turned pro. October 2018. There's a young Connor Butler in the ring, a young Robert Blundell on the microphone.
You sent me the picture.
I know. I'm going to put it in the comments later. Against he's gone on to have a good career as a journeyman, Reece Taylor now. It was quite early doors for him then. But how different was that for you from boxing as an elite amateur to get international tournaments, as you've said there, the highest level you can really get, to someone like Reece Taylor, who is, I always say this about the journeyman, what they do is an art, isn't it, in itself?
Mate, honestly.
But how did the adjustment go from obviously 50-50, all you about being 50-50s, to someone who's there to not let you hit them? He doesn't want to get it, really. But that's all he's interested in, isn't it?
Crazy, Robbie, because I'm going to go off subject again here.
Come on, I like it.
So we were in Kirby, and then everyone's like, how did you end up from Kirby ABC to Everton Red Triangle?
Yeah.
So a lot of politics happened in Kirby, And our coach, we had a head coach called Dave Kenny, who I've mentioned. Without going into too much detail, a lot of things happened in the gym when we were all babies. So Dave Kenny left KBABC. In I wouldn't say some versions because I know the truth, but I don't want to go into the politics. He got told to leave the gym, so he left. When he left, lad, we had no, and this ain't being disrespectful to any of the other coaches. Dave Kenny was our coach from 10, lad. We're now 19 years of age, 18.
Yeah.
We don't want anyone else to coach us.
Yeah.
So at the time, Everton Red Triangle was a thriving pro stable. The likes of Jazza Dickens, British champion, Ryan Farrag, Kevin Satchel, Stephen Lewis. They had Courtney Fry. They had all sorts of champions in their gym.
Yeah.
And we all used to spar with Peter McGrail, Andrew Kane, Brandon Diode, Anthony Humphreys. We used to go there as a team and spar with Everton Red Triangle all the time. I even used to spar Kevin Satchel when I was 17 years of age. I was sparring a British Commonwealth and European Champion at 17.
Yeah.
I always knew I was going to turn pro. It was me, and that's where I wanted to go. So I ended up going from Kirby to Everton Red Triangle, and I'm not going to say anything bad about Kirby, but at that time we all got treated like traitors.
Yeah.
I've got 7 England international vests hung up in KBABC. I've got gold medals. So's Nick Ball, so's Bradley Strand, Alex Dicko, Joff, so many other fighters, Harry Woods. And I wanted a couple of my England vests back to frame in my house. And I never got the opportunity to get them. So even though they belong to the club, we're still the fighter that earned them. And I'm not bothered, lad. I've got another fucking 20 under my bed, but it's still like, it's just the way we got treated when we left was just a bit sad because of everything that we done from putting Kirby back on the map in a sense.
Was there anything fresh about going to ERT though, just in terms of away from the politics and the men and like, you know, whatever that side of it? Did it freshen you up at all? Did it give you a new spring in your step, or just out of it being something new?
Here's the difference, lad, because Dave Kenny's a boxing man and Paul Stevenson's a boxing man, and so is Mick Stevenson. So with them heads and learning something off all of them, and I'm going to put it out there now, lad, right? Dave Kenny, for me, was one of the best coaches I've ever worked with in my life. But I've never met anyone with more knowledge than Paul Stevenson in boxing.
Well, the results he's having speak for themselves as well, don't they?
But he knew it. He knew it when we were fucking 14 years of age. Do you know what? He's telling everyone. And everyone's going, oh, whatever. Now look at them.
So you turn over with the Everton Red. You have that bout versus Reece Taylor. You started 2019 nice and active as well. Got a stoppage win over Norbert Dodo and a win over Pablo Nevarez. Then you had a bout with a lad who's quite on the circuit against Stephen Livewire Maguire. Unfortunately, a technical draw due to a cut to him. How frustrating was that, or is that just part and parcel of it? A clash of heads, cut. Is it the risk you take, or was it a killer for you?
Killer for me, and I'll tell you why. Yeah. At the time, Alfie Warren was coming to watch me, Andrew Kane, Bradley Strand, and Meshach Russell. Meshach Spear, we know him as Shaq, don't we?
Yeah.
And at the time, I was a flyweight, so I was always told, you're going to move quicker than anyone can, because your weight division, this is just the way it is. So I'm beating top-class journeymen. I was beating... I know people don't look at it like... You can get a gang of crabs from Africa and KO them in a round. Or you can get proper journeymen who are going to teach you rounds. And Paul Stevo always got us as a manager. He wanted us to fight different types of style to evolve our craft. Short fighters, southpaws, strong fighters, heavier fighters. Seasoned journeymen. I boxed Brett Fido after 5 fights. I remember in the changes. So leading up to the Stephen Maguire fight, I'd already boxed a small southpaw, tricky southpaw, Reece Taylor. I nearly had him out of there about 3 or 4 times, but he was grabbing me round the balls for the whole fight. From there, I went on to fight an undefeated fighter from Hungary called Norbert Dodo. I ended up KOing him in round 2. I boxed a seasoned journeyman called Pablo Naves.
Yeah.
who was an absolute monster from Nicaragua. And
Yeah.
even though people see that he's lost 20 fights, he had 11 draws, which are classed as wins, let's be real.
Yeah, if
And
a journeyman
when
gets
all
the
of his
draw.
wins that he had about 12 or 13 KOs.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was a weight above me, Naves.
Mm.
So I was fighting seasoned journeyman as a young
From the
pro. I
off.
weren't fighting your bin men from Africa. I was learning on the job. And I went into the Maguire fight. I hit him in the body and buzzed him with 2 left hooks in round 1. And I remember sitting down in the corner and Paul went, "Let's get this kid out of here. Your level's above him, Con. Let's get the stoppage." And then obviously we clashed heads. And Mark Lyson was the referee at the time.
Mm.
And I never knew the rules of professional. I know it sounds fucking crazy. The rules when it comes to cuts in professional boxing, because
Yeah.
I've never had a
Under
cut in my career.
rounds.
Never had a cut before then.
Yeah.
So Stephen Maguire was hit twice and got cut above his eye about an inch. It was a tiny cut above the eye.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the eyelid, it was above the eyebrow. And he was looking for a way out to the referee, and I kept applying the pressure. And Mark waved it off, so I thought I'd won by stoppage. But because the fight was, you see me celebrating on the video.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the fight got stopped, I thought I won by KO. Went to the corner, celebrated the KO with Paul and Frank the Cutman. And I think George Scoey was in the corner as well. And when Mark Lyson come over, he said, "Clash of heads, technical draw."
Yeah.
So when we got to the decision and he said, "Technical draw," I said, "What the fuck? You give that round 10-10." That's what I genuinely thought.
All right.
I thought the fucker hasn't hit me once. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gutted, and I think that sort of setback. I never ended up getting signed by Warren on the back of that fight. It was sort of like a weird. I had something to prove coming off the back of a draw, and I constantly had to keep explaining to people it was a
It was a
draw by a
technical
clash of
draw.
heads. And your
Yeah.
average boxing fan, lads, they're not. You got a
No.
draw, lad. You must be shit. Do you know
Yeah.
one of them?
Well, no, exactly. And I've actually emceed a win for Stephen Maguire, so he knows what he's doing there, doesn't he? He knows.
Yeah, lad, he had
He knows
40
what he's
fights.
doing. Yeah.
He had 40 fights.
But as you said, after that, you moved on after that because I don't like saying a blemish on your record because you didn't
It
like.
would have been a KO victory if the fight gone on another round.
I think even if they're gonna do it, I think a rule they could look at if it's a 4 or a 6 would look at making it a no contest, or would even be fairer than the draw. But it happened.
To a casual boxing fan, when a clash of heads happens between the start of the 4th round, the fight goes automatically to the cards. If it's not been more than 4 rounds completed, the contest gets halted as a no contest, and it gets classed as a technical draw on both fighters' record. And that's only because in championship bouts, they don't judge the first 3 rounds until. I might be getting that a little bit confused,
but I think it's more.
So the champion doesn't lose
for like
his
a
belt.
10 or a 12 round contest as well. It doesn't really give a fair reflection of
it. That's exactly it.
But when you're doing a 4 rounder, I think it's different. If the fight's a 4 rounder,
I think it should be after 1 round completed. If it's the start of the second that it happens, you still got the first round to judge for the win. The fight was only going one way anyway, but.
So after that, as you've said there, you come back against a very durable Brett Fido, another lad who I emceed. I mean, he stopped Tyrone McCulloch in Bolton.
Lad, he went on a run, KOing everyone. I remember before that fight, it was meant to be a 6 rounder against Brett Fido, and it was an eliminator for the Commonwealth title. It was meant to be in the flyweight, and that was me getting back with Frank Warren and whatnot. And they ended up changing it, the weight of the fight, from 8 stone 5 to 8 stone 10. And dropping the rounds down to a 4 rounder. And that was only because he was set to fight Dennis McCann on a television bill.
All right.
So I remember before fighting Brett, I looked at his record and he had 80 fights. And lad, I'll be honest, as a pro, I didn't give a fuck who I was fighting. I'm a fighter. I'm going to beat everyone. Yeah. I'm going to be the best. That's the mindset of a champion. So I see Brett Fido losing 80 fights. As far as I'm concerned, he's not worthy enough to lace me boots. Do you know what I mean? The things that I've done, I'm going to go in there and school him. And I remember Kevin Satchel coming up to me, someone who I've got utmost respect for. Kev guided me right the way through the early part of my pro career with the way the game was, and I used to always go to him for advice. And anyway, he said to me, "Be careful in this fight, Con. This kid swings them in." And I was like, "Behave, lad. He's lost 80 fights. I'll fucking play with him." And
Well, that's his
he went,
nickname,
"I
innit?
know you will."
Brett the Threat.
Brett the Threat fired up, but he was coming on
Yeah.
wins from KOing Marcel
Yeah,
or putting Marcel over, and
yeah.
he
So he's
KO'd a
come in
few
swing.
people, didn't he? He was putting them away
Yeah.
and I put away dinners now, but he was proper flattening everyone, and I'm sure he had won belts at this point that I boxed him. I'm sure he was like
Probably
English champion and
area champion or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And so I ended up going in the fight, and in round one he threw a right hand lad and I shoulder rolled it.
Yeah.
And I thought, fucking hell, these are right. He's coming to take my head off him. And I think I buzzed him in round three. I hit him with an uppercut, and his legs buckled a bit. And he grabbed hold of me and he went to me, "Fucking behave yourself." Do you know, like, and like we laugh about it because we know what it's like, the game. But
Yeah.
your average fan would be like, "Why would he say that to you?" And I went, "Because we're young prospects, and if we get excited, the motherfucker's
Yeah.
gonna take me head clean off my shoulders." People think
So
because they're journeymen, they're getting paid to lose. They're not. If they sense a win, mate, they will take your head
yeah. Well, I'll tell you
clean
now
off.
from MCing shows, if you see on the paperwork, probably shouldn't say this, but I will. If you see like ones do a contest report, I feel sorry for the prospect
Because they're
because
just going to turn up and fill you in.
Yeah. And then after that though is COVID it as well, didn't it? After your Brett fight, did that stop your momentum? Because really, you're getting back to it a bit there, aren't you? You've come back after that blemish with the cut. You've got to win over the good seasoned lad. Did COVID? Do you think it derailed you a little bit?
Not half, because at the time, ERT stable was all small shows. So if you remember, Rob, Nick Ball was topping our bill, and everyone used to get excited at this little 5 foot kid getting in there with a 6 foot fella, and Nick could punch fuck out of them all around the ring, and we'd all know what was coming. People would be getting in the ring laughing at Nick until he took his
Not
top
knowing.
off, and then they'd go, "What the fuck, this little Hulk," and he'd go out and light them up. And I remember my brother's Nick Ball's biggest ever fan. Every fight I had, our kid, you'll see him in the crowd. He's fucking probably off his rock or something, doing something that he shouldn't be. But he comes to all the fights and he gets excited. And when's Nick on? When's Andrew on? Do you know the lads who are getting in there and just destroying people because they don't look like nothing? And obviously Nick had this breakout against Isaac Lowe, and we all knew, lad. We all went to bookies and put a monkey on that. You know, we knew he was going in there and ironing out that Isaac Lowe, and Liverpool was celebrating because we'd all fucking had Beth Fred off for about £250,000. But
So yeah,
yeah,
them shows stopped though, the smaller hall ones, as you said
they
there, where
did,
Nick was
yeah.
headline. So your activity come to a halt. You got back going in 2021, 2 points wins over again names we know. Stephen Jackson and Marius Vinicius. They're the season journeyman as well. And then after that, in the April of that year, when your record was 6-0-1, you had 50-50 on paper with Ben Norman, who was 5-0 over 10 rounds. How did you find? Obviously, I'm assuming Jackson and Vinicius, whereas the other good solid journeyman, that was to get you back active. You got in 6-0-1 against the 5-0 lad. 10 rounder. How did you find the step up in class and in rounds?
So in them year span there that you've laid out, there's a few things that had happened. COVID happened. So in COVID, I was told at the time I was getting a deal off Francis Warren. It was back on the table with Queensbury. At the time, Nicholas Ball, and the reason why I'm mentioning all these lads, because we were all one unit in ERT. And you know yourself, a pro stable is a foundation of fighters. And once one fighter gets the limelight, the door opens for the other fighters
For
to
the
come
rest of them.
through. So Nick had 13, 14 fights by the time me, Brad, Drew, Shaq had 5 or 6. So Nick was the tip of the spear. He was the man getting through the door first. So Nicholas got signed with Frank Warren. When he got signed with Warren, he was having fights during COVID when all of us wasn't. So we were in the gym just ticking over, but nothing was happening. So I'd be asking questions. When am I getting my contract? When am I signing it? But no one knew how long COVID was going to last. So I'm going to be real, and not many people know this, but there's a few people who listen to this and they'll go, fucking hell, I remember that con. I left the RT because I was, it sounds mad saying this, and I don't like saying all stuff like this because I'm not a, I'll get to it. I feel a bit weird
Yeah.
saying it. I got really depressed, lads, and I ended up in a
Yeah.
fucking bit of a bad way. So I liked boxing. I went in the gym one day. I done a session, and no, not many people know this. I went into Paul Stevenson and went, I want to roll the dice. I've had enough. I want to leave. I want to go and try me luck at something else. Because, lad, when you're a professional boxer at 18, 19 years of age, you've got no source of income apart from boxing. You're a young kid. You've got ambitions, lad. I've always wanted to buy my own house and do a lot of things with my life. But boxing always, even though it's been very good to me, it held me back in so many ways. Couldn't go to university because I was training 3 times a day. I couldn't go and get a trade because what trade's going to let you start fucking working at 1 o'clock in the afternoon after the gym? Them factors play in. Plus, you've got a life to live with no money. So a decision had to be made, and at that age, at 19, 20, 21 years of age, I decided to just walk away from boxing. I walked away from boxing, fucked it off, went and got a job, started straightening myself out, earning a bit of money, kept getting phone calls. I was doing CrossFit, becoming an absolute fucking machine, and I just liked boxing. I didn't think about it. I didn't want to be involved with it because of the things that I'd experienced so far, the letdowns that I've experienced in my career at that young age. I thought, it is what it is. I'm going to go and get a job and get a trade and do this and do that. Paul Butler's dad, Butch,
Yeah.
we all know him. Not many people do. Used to ring me up
Ellesmere
every
Port
day.
legend.
Now, what are you doing? You've left the RT. You've left. Go to Derry Matthews' gym. Fuck off, Paul. No.
Yeah.
Done with it, lad. I'm just getting a job. I'm cracking on. I'm earning a few quid. I'm going on all these holidays, lad. I'm living life. No, you're not, you little fat tick. Get in Derry's gym. So every day he'd ring me, and not many people know it.
No, I didn't know
So
that.
that's how I ended up in Derry's gym. And Derry would tell you himself. Derry and General would tell you themselves. I walked into Derry Matthews' gym about 10.5 stone fat. I hadn't boxed for 20 months. Walked in the gym. Hit the bag, get bored, and Derry would go, just come back. Just come back tomorrow. Don't have to do anything, just come back. Don't commit to anything, just keep coming back. As I was coming back, General started getting involved. Then the stable of lads, Jay Farrell, who I'd known from Spine and Alex. Then we had Josh Wright, who I grew up with, Brian Collins, Fergal. So all of a sudden we had this group, and it
You got a
just
bit of a team again.
reminded me of the Kirby days. We had Kirby
Yeah.
ABC in Derry's gym.
And you got
And
your
then we
spring back
brought
in
the
your step
knowledge
again.
in with Derry and General. And then I got
Yeah.
my career back signing with Steve Woods. And the decision to sign with Steve Woods wasn't about financial or nothing like that. What it was about was I went to Steve Woods. I had my first meet with him. I said, listen, I've done all this as an amateur. I've experienced the pro game. All I want to do is fight regular at the right weight.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not asked what you pay me, mate. I said, me boxing now fits around the job that I was doing at the time. So I
Yeah.
could still earn me money. I could train in the morning, go to work, and then train again at the night when I have fights coming up. So it was more so like, can I start saving up a house deposit, fighting fucking journeyman,
Yeah.
being real.
Well,
So
that's it.
the Ben Norman fight come about after me, Derry and Geno started forming a team. I ended up boxing Ben Norman, who had boxed in the amateurs and beat. And I underestimated him, I'll be honest. It was a close fight. I boxed like a fucking idiot with my hands down. And I ended up beating him on a close decision. But I knew I won the fight because Ben was a great boxer but had no power. So when he was catching me with little shots, I could eat them all day to land 2 or 3, and that's what I was doing in the fight. And a 10-round fight, little 8-ounce gloves accumulate
Yeah.
over the distance of the fight. So you look a lot worse than when you're in there, one of them.
So then after you'd had the win over Ben Norman, which as you said, I mean, no disrespect, Ben, I said he's a good boxer, knows what he's doing. And at the time it was 6-1 against 5-0. So it's on paper, it's a 50-50
It's an undefeated fight, yeah.
Yeah. You've seen the year out there with a couple of wins over John Spencer and Stephen Jackson. And in February 23, got the opportunity to box for the Commonwealth title against Craig Derbyshire, another lad whose record doesn't do him justice. Because I think you get two versions of Craig. You get Craig in the away corner and you get Craig trying to win. And it's two different people. Would you agree with that? Or
100%, but I tell you the
Yeah.
thing, when I beat, I ended up boxing Stephen Jackson again, and that was my first
Yeah.
fight with Stephen Vaughan. And I'm going to touch into a bit of politics again, because the reason behind my retirement is politics based. So
Okay.
what I mean by that is, I've got, without being cocky and big headed, I've got no wear and tear as a fighter. I've got really bad hands, and I get the odd cut when I box, but I haven't got miles on the clock. I don't take a lot of shots in sparring. When I box, I don't really get hit clean. And I could go for another 10 years fighting, but there's two reasons why I don't. One, I fucking can't stand training. And I'm the first to admit it. I'll be honest, I am. I like fighting. I don't like training.
Okay.
Anyone who knows me in the gym, the pros that we've got in now, Kate Wiggins, Lucas Dube, all of the lads in our gym know what it was like for me in a fight camp. All I done was moan. I hated dieting. I was always heavy. But I'd turn up to the session and give it 100%. You might get a moan, a kick off, and whatever while I'm training, but
Yeah.
I'd still put the work in to become. Nothing was handed to me. I'd still put the 12 weeks in like a proper champion and get the result done on fight night. But the thing about me that everyone says to me now that I have retired is, you could turn up on fight night, Con, and just go in there and perform. But you're 12 weeks in the gym before it, you could be shite. And that for me was the difference.
We have got it. I'll come back to that at the end because there's something I want to say, touch on what Derry said to me last week. But if we get back to that bout as itself, though, challenging for your first pro title, the Commonwealth against Craig, who if there's a boxer whose record doesn't match their ability, I think it is Craig. Because he's won area titles by stoppages. Do you know what I mean?
English titles, he'd won everything.
English titles. I'm just talking
fights.
Like he stops them and. So that bout out in Malta over 12 rounds for the Commonwealth title, which is a prestigious title. And, how did that come about? I was boxing abroad as a pro because I know you've done it a lot as an amateur. But how did you find that then step up to 12 rounds against an experienced lad like Craig?
So basically, in the build up to that fight, Craig Derbyshire was a seasoned pro. Even though he had a lot of defeats, and he was an older man, he was 32. I was 25. So I'd had 10 fights at this point, 10-0. And I'd only ever beaten journeyman apart from Ben Norman, which was a bit of a close fight. But I'd earned me right to become mandatory for the Commonwealth title on the backs of me wins.
Yeah.
We bypassed the English title. I was meant to box Ben Norman for the English title, but they said there's no point fighting for the English title if it's a Commonwealth title eliminator, because you've got to vacate the belt to fight for the Commonwealth anyway. That's another thing people don't see, is the politics with belts.
Yeah.
So there's much of it. So becoming mandatory for the Commonwealth title, Craig Derbyshire boxed a fella called Tommy Frank.
Yeah.
I'd been calling to fight Tommy Frank for a year now, because I didn't think Tommy Frank was any good. And at the time, Tommy Frank was the British and Commonwealth champion at my weight, and I was mandatory for the Commonwealth title. So Tommy Frank messes it up, boxes Derbyshire and gets a draw where everyone thought Derbyshire panned his head in. So Dennis Hobson took the belt off Tommy, left him with the British. Here's where it gets even more messy. So I'm calling to fight Tommy Frank, but then they throw Craig Derbyshire in front of him. Craig Derbyshire looks at me as a young kid who's cocky and coming through, and he hasn't been in with a real fighter yet, and you've given me a load of shit in the build-up. And I said, listen, lad, I wouldn't mind your head filled with £2 coins. Fucking massive. And we ended up going to Malta, and to be honest, the commentary done it no justice. I don't know if you ever watched it back on the commentary, but some reason they were all for Craig Derbyshire and mate, I remember sitting down after 4 rounds and I went to Jen, was you gonna fucking throw anything, yeah? I was pieced him up really, just broke him down with a jab, and my movement I was too fast for him. And at the end of round 5, I remember he stuck his head on me after the bell, and the referee had no control over the fight whatsoever. He stuck his head on me and cut me above my eye, a big nasty cut that was running into my eye. And in Malta, lad, this is funny, we had no cut man in the corner. So, do you know Geno's youngest son, the Cuban, Ruben?
Yeah, Ruben, yeah.
Ruben was sitting in the corner with cotton pads and fucking adrenaline and all sorts of gear, passing it into the fucking ring because I got a big, massive cut. And Geno and Derry ended up stopping the bleeding after 1 round. But what happened was, this is what, no one believes me when I say this. Round 6, I went out and Craig stuck it on me, yeah. And everyone was like, oh, he's in trouble. He had fucking baby oil on, lad. So when I was grabbing hold of him, he was just slipping his arms out. And lad, I know every trick in the game. I know how to tie people up under the armpit and turn them up. So my plan was, see this round out, he's going to gas anyway. Just grab hold, pull him into the ropes and turn. Because he had no ring craft. I could grab hold of him in the middle of the ring, turn him, put him on the rope, step back and have the whole ring to move into. And that's the IQ that I think separated me from most fighters early on. And yeah, but I couldn't grab hold of it, so I was just slipping off him. And like, I was going, what the fuck? And then he'd had a stonker of a 6 round. Everyone thought he was going to stop me. And then I come out in round 7, got back on my jab and just ran away with it. And then, funny thing in that fight, I tell you, if you watch it back, in the last round, I knew I was like fucking 6 rounds up or something like that. And we both ended up clinching. And I deliberately fell over. And I remember like looking, and I'm a master at getting rest, me. Ask anyone in sparring, even in fights. I will find a couple of seconds anyway. Not because I'm lazy, but because I can. Do you know what I mean? So we fell on the floor, and I remember thinking, I'm going to just take my time getting up here. So I remember rolling onto my belly, one knee up, and as I turned around and looked, everyone's face was like this. And I just remember seeing Geno going, fucking get up now.
I can imagine
Screaming
it.
at me to get up because he knows that I'm after a rest on the floor.
Yeah.
Because he's in his mind, he's like, your next opponent's going to be watching this, knowing that you're looking for a rest. You better get up. So he's screaming at me to get up. So I got up and ended up obviously finishing the fight and passing with flying colours. And I think it was like the scorecards were like by 4 or 5 rounds or.
Yeah. So you've picked up the Commonwealth title there. Next out after that, you come about Matt Windle defending your Commonwealth and for the vacant European title. How did that bout come about, and how did you find Matt Windle as an opponent?
So that bout come about by more politics and belt situations. After I won the Commonwealth title, I wanted Tommy Frank straight away for the British. We were meant to fight in the Titanic Hotel for the British Commonwealth European title in a private event in Liverpool. Tommy Frank didn't take the fight. He ended up choosing to fight Jay Harris instead. And Jay Harris stopped him within 10 rounds. Absolutely blitzed him. Because Jay had lost for world titles, 2 world title defeats, come back down to domestic level and smashed Tommy Frank everywhere. It was a good fight, wasn't it? It was close, but Jay just had too much in the bag. He was a seasoned, just levels to the game, isn't it? That's where people say there's levels to this. When you've got a world-class fighter coming back down to domestic level, it shows in level and experience.
So
and
that
Jay
left
is
you
one of
without
them
the
anomaly
Frank bout though
fighters
as
that
well.
he's an older fighter, but he's still very, very young.
Yeah.
Even though he's old, he looks after himself. He does the right things out of camp. See him on Instagram today. I'm always talking to Jay because you obviously get onto that fight in a bit. But he lives the life outside of the ring, whereas some pros don't.
Yeah.
And that is the difference between amazing fighters. So Matt Windle come about by winning the Commonwealth title at the weight below me, and I was the Commonwealth title at flyweight, and he was a light fly. So he stepped up to challenge for the European title because he wanted to. Bear it in mind, Matt Windle's a very, very seasoned domestic fighter. He's
Oh,
fought for
he
the
is.
British
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
title. He's fought for a couple of intercontinental titles, the Commonwealth champion, the weight below. So he come up a weight, and what a fella, dead nice, sound, proper nice lad. Really respectful in the build up. I was myself, but I just knew I was in a mad way. It sounds weird. This I knew I was too strong for him,
Yeah.
and in the fight, it's shown. And I actually broke my left hand in that fight in round 6.
So only half at the halfway point, you boxed half it with a broken hand. Then.
I'll show you a picture after it of my hand. So I had one hand for 6 rounds of the fight. I wobbled him in round 3 and tried to finish him. And then the accumulation of shots that I was landing was damaging my hand. So you know me, Rob. Everything's off my lead hand. I box off my lead hand.
Yeah.
I look for openings, body shots, uppercuts, hooks, and because it was that bad. When I was throwing jabs, Matt was just putting his head like that, and I was just cracking the top of his head every time, and it was hitting me more than it was hitting him. So
then
I couldn't get him out. I think I buzzed him in round 10. I've never watched the fight back. I had him gone a few times, but with only having one hand, I just couldn't get the finish that I wanted to get.
Yeah, and he's one of the, as you said, he's a seasoned pro, and I think he's another one you could see a few losses on his record. But at them lower weights, you get thrown in the 50-50s a lot earlier, don't you? A lot
Yeah,
earlier.
and it's
I'm all for it, to be honest with you, Con. But
not a
don't. Yeah. And then, so after that, you end up picking up the European title, which I love that blue belt, to be honest with you, Con. I think it's one of the best belts in boxing. I think it is the best below a world title. After that, so we touched on Jay Haddis there, live on the Zone, my the Zone debut actually on the mic. You challenge for the British, defending your Commonwealth and Europeans against Jay Haddis, who you've said there you get on great with. He is a really good fighter. That's got to be one of the closest hard fought title fights I've seen from that up close and personal. What was that bout like for yourself? Obviously, it did end up being your first professional loss and only professional loss. But how was that bout coming about? And because as you said there, he took another route. You took another route after you took Frank. You took Windle. Sorry, he took Tommy Frank. But you ended up sort of together. Probably the 1 and 2 in the weight. Definitely in the country at the time, holding all the domestic titles. How did that bout come to be?
And I'm made up you said it like that, Robbie, because a lot of people don't appreciate the fact of there's a few things there that I want to touch on. The European title, there's only like 5 6 Scousers that have ever won that.
Yeah.
And Jazza said to me after the fight, come in the back, and he went, Con, I don't think you realise how big that belt is that you just won. That's like the equivalent to being rank 3 in the WBC because you've won that.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, I don't understand rankings, Jazz. I'm not arsed, lad. I'll just go in there and do my job and hopefully get paid. And that's what it was, do you know what I mean? I went in there and I won the belt, and everyone was proper kicking on, saying like, that is one of the most prestigious belts in boxing that you've just won. And you've done it the traditional way. You've boxed a domestic route, the English title that perhaps could have been crowned after beating Ben Norman, to then winning a Commonwealth title, to bypassing the British because it was held up in traffic, to win the European title, to then come back and do the full triple crown and do a domestic treble. That was the plan after that fight. That was the only route we were going. There was talks of me going down a weight to go to Japan to fight for a world title. But advised by my team, and I listened to my team because they're like my family. Con, you're 26 years of age. Just have a rest, grow, fill out as a man. But me as being the person I am, I have to have something to keep me going, Rob. And at this time, lad, I just bought my house with me missus.
Yeah.
me and Emma, and I haven't really mentioned it in this interview yet about mine and Em's journey within boxing, and I'll probably touch
Mm.
on it a bit towards the end. How boxing as a professional doesn't only impact you as a person, but it impacts not just the close people around, everything in your life, lad. Like
Yeah.
holidays, can't have a Diet Coke at a wedding. I don't drink. I
Yeah.
just drink Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Can't go and do this because you got to be in training, and that's another reason behind my decision to retire. But going into the Jay Harris fight, winning the European title, being on the brink of a world title, more or less because of that belt, but we wanted to go back and win the British. So there was
Mm.
talks of Jay Harris giving the belt up and going straight to back to world level where he belongs. But I just said to Vaughan at the time, my manager, and there was a couple of figures getting through about for purses and money. And then we were meant to fight in Cardiff on a Frank Warren bill, a big bill on there. But the money was a lot less than what we were getting off the zone. So I said, fuck it, let's just fight him, innit? He's 35, I think he was at the time, coming up to 36. I'm in me pomp, beating everyone with ease, to be fair. I beat Matt Windle, like fucking, I think one of the cards was 118, 112. I sort of won
Mm.
every single round with one hand. So I was just looking at these older types of fighters as boxing's a young man's game. Boxing's a young man's game, and I'm learning on the job, and I'm fresher, faster, more skillful than the fighters that I think I'm going in with, and I'm going to back myself all day long. So there's a chance here to become a domestic treble, triple crown champion by winning the Commonwealth, British, European, and holding them all at the same time, like my predecessor Kevin Satchel. It was something that was on the table for me that I wanted. So I took the fight against the will of, and I'm going to say it, Derry, General and Vaughan did not want me to
Yeah.
take that fight, but I wanted it because Kevin Satchel is triple crowned. I want to do it. And it
And
weren't
no,
like
and
I just wanted to win the British title and hold all three and then go on and win a world title after that. That was what the plan was.
it
Against the
was a,
wishes of me other team that I never listened to.
but it was, it didn't, it was a hard fought close contest, wasn't it? Was Jay as good as you'd expected them to be once you got in there? Because I know you got a lot of respect for him.
Oh lad, he's a legend. He's one of the most honest people. And I remember having a chat with him in the changes after it. Like my first defeat, I was lad. I hate losing. I was crying, and it was funny because I was emotionless after the fight because of the way the fight went. And I walked in the back, and you know me, Rob. I'm just a joker, aren't I? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all I do is fuck about. So when I'm in my changes, I have a changing room that's packed.
Hmm.
Like I have 100 people, as many as I can in the changes. I like noise. I like all these big fights, lad. I like it to be upbeat. I like people to. I don't like people walking around like they're in a morgue.
Yeah.
Like some fighters do. I like having a laugh. Like go to Malta, look at the pictures. We have 50 people in the back kicking off with Dave Allen before the fight. Do you know? He went to me. He went, "I'm an heavyweight." I went, "Lad, there's 50 of us." Me and Farag were giving him loads to turn his music off. The big dope. But it's a funny story that. But yeah, so after the fight, I went into the back after losing, and we'll talk about the fight in a minute. But I remember I went upstairs and Geno's got two sons. Sonny Geno, who's an active boxer, who's a middleweight now, 75 kilo. One of the
Yeah.
best kids in the country as a youth. And I've known Sonny, obviously. It's like a little brother to me. And then he's got a younger brother called Ruben.
Yeah.
And we all know Ruben as Ruben the Cuban. And he's my mascot. Everywhere I go, the Cuban goes. And he's first dibs anywhere. He's always holding the belt. He's the first person to hold any belt that I've ever won first. He's the first person to hold the belt. And he takes the belts home for the day after I win them.
So that is first.
Lad, I've got pictures of him with his Rottweiler Virgil with the European title around the dog's neck. So he would go home with the belt after I won them. So I went in the changes after the Harris fight, and I was sound, just a little bit. Don't really know what's going on because you just had 12-round fight. You not like knocked out or nothing, but you're a bit like you're not sure what. All you want to do is have a piss and a drink. That's it. And I go upstairs and I'm not really arsed. It hasn't sunk in yet. And then I see me Bird and Ruben crying, like sobbing. And lad, I just fucking broke down for a good 10 minutes, lad. Just sat there sobbing, towel over me head and that. And it's the first time I've ever tasted defeat, lad. And it weren't so much that I lost, it was the fact that I'm a weirdo. You've been outmanned by someone. Do you know like
Well,
that's the taste of defeat. It's weird.
I think when you look at that bout back though, because my favourite thing about them seeing is sitting ringside for fights like that. You know, I'm a
Not a
boxing
free
fan more
ticket.
than anything. Yeah, get a few wages to come and watch us. Do you know what I mean? But
Lovely
like,
lad.
I was sat on the front row, and it's like, do you know when you can see hard fought rounds, you can see, and that was one of them bouts that left you with that feeling as these two lads are giving it everything they've got.
Not a.
So it's like, I think it's
Yeah.
hard to say because I know you've lost, but sometimes I don't know what. Sometimes a fighter can, because really Jay was a step up for you as well, wasn't he? No disrespect to Matt,
Yeah.
and there probably was question marks to people externally whether you were up to that step up, and I think you proved you were 100%.
Not
It
a.
was a good every round. Even like it's one of them. Sometimes you watch a bout and people clearly win a round, but there was rounds there where you both. They were every round was close. I don't felt there was a dominance in any round.
No.
Or
I
so
remember the fight. I remember there's a few things I want to touch on about that actual fight.
yeah,
My version of what happened
yeah,
and being in the moment with it. In the fight, so bearing in mind, I'm going to say something here. Stephen Vaughan Senior, who's just recently passed away,
yeah. Another really sad one.
rest in peace, like an absolute icon in boxing.
Yeah,
Before every fighter who's come from Liverpool that's had a Vaughan or Derry or anyone like that in their team, there's no man you want in the back before going to war than Steve Vaughan Senior. The
yeah,
pep talks he gave me, and he always looked after me missus, always asked about my family life. How's things going outside the ring, Con? If you need anything, let me know. I can help you with this, I can do that. So that's
yeah,
a man that I will always love, in a sense where there's been moments in my life where I'm having one-on-ones with myself, and this man who's level-headed, cool as fuck, is in the back firing me up, ready to go and take this fella's head off.
yeah,
Joe, and Fergo's experienced it, so's Derry, so many other fighters, and that's who I used to have. The minute before I was walking out, I'd have Geno, Ruben, Derry, and Steve Vaughan Senior all
yeah.
together, and then that would be it. Then 2 minutes before we go into the ring, we're up for it, and so I just wanted to mention that in this. Going into that fight, we started the fight as planned, moving, sticking behind the jab. I felt like I won the first few rounds quite comfortable because Jay was a slow starter, but we knew he had a serious engine on him. But
Yeah,
we knew that Jay was not weak to the body, but he's had exposure to body shots prior to me. And I'm younger and fresher, lad. He's beaten an old Tommy Frank. He's lost at the top level. I'm winning everything. I'm going in here thinking he's just another old man that I'm gonna beat. And there's a term in boxing that I've heard loads of times, never understood what it means, and it's called getting old manned. And
yeah,
that's exactly what happened to me on that night. I was running away with it at times, and then Jay would just tighten up, close up, get to me, smother me, and just bully me.
Well,
Bully
he
me on
was
the
a
inside, and
very experienced 12-round fighter as well,
not
wasn't he?
half. I learned more
Like,
in that 12 rounds than I did in the 13 fights I had before that.
so after the Harris loss, and as you've said there, you thought you were doing well, and you've explained there your thoughts. So really, I'm not saying it's the only thing to take anything away from Jay, but one of the factors to the loss, what do you think was his experience?
Possibly. He'd had
Yeah.
36 fights, if I'm not mistaken, and only lost 2 at world level. He'd beaten some fantastic fighters, winning the European title, IBF Intercontinental, British, Commonwealth, English, or Welsh, whatever title it was. He's won he's been in 10-round fights for 10 years, 12-round
Yeah.
fights for 10 years. So he was going into that fight, we were an underdog in a sense where this is obviously a question mark, crossroads fights, someone coming down, someone coming up. And I think I showed that I had a pair of bollocks and a heart, boxing IQ as well, but you just got to respect that both fighters went in there and put it on. And it annoys me as well, like, flyweights don't get the recognition we deserve, lad. Like,
No, well, Jay's gone on to retire due to lack of opportunities, hasn't
lack
he?
of
Which, when you think
opportunity,
of
no
it,
one wants to fight him because he's
is
a danger
mental.
man.
Yeah.
And world title level, unless you're going to Japan or Mexico and you got a big promoter paying the sanctioning fees, you're not getting them big paydays. You never are. Sonny
No.
Edwards is the last one from the UK who's got big paydays from being a flyweight, and that's only because, and no disrespect, he was an amazing fighter. Just used to chat shit about everyone, didn't he? So
Yeah.
and people want to see that, but that's not my style, lad. I'm cool and calm and collected, and I'm only fiery if I really really don't like someone, and that's the way it's got to be in the game. But nowadays, the modern days, you've got to be a helmet on social media to do anything really, haven't you?
And so what I'll say, Con, and I think I can say this because we're quite matey, and I'm a big lad, so I can get away with saying this. But you had a bit of time off. You come back. You boxed Eric Lopez. I remember. I don't know if this played into the decision to retire, but I remember doing the weigh-in the day before and being on the scales, and you were 121 pounds, and I thought to myself, is this wrong?
Bash,
I thought, is this wrong? Do you know what I mean? What, like,
bash.
so what did happen for that final bow out? Because what is quite, I can take some, not a bit of closure from being your mate, that I emceed your debut and your last fight.
Yeah,
That's quite, I'm quite made up with that in some ways. Obviously, I'm gutted you've retired, but I'm glad you've done it on your terms. But was there anything in that last bout that you knew you weren't yourself? Because I know you
yeah.
won, and the lad you were in with, he was a frigging featherweight, super featherweight. He's only been
WBA world champion, weren't he?
stopped once in like 50 odd fights. I could be wrong there, but I'm
Wasn't he?
sure it was
I'm sure he was a WBA. On the night of the fight, I got told he was a WBA, some former WBA world champion from
he
years back
could
in his
well have
in
been,
his
but
prime.
he was definitely 40 odd fights and stopped once. That was a definite. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was a feather slash super feather, not a fly slash super fly. Do you know
No.
what I
Yeah.
mean? So, but you beat him well. Do you know what I mean? Not well by your standards, I'd say,
Yeah,
if you
it
get what I
wasn't.
mean. But you
But
a
it
clear
weren't
win.
me in the ring. It was what I mean by that is, so politics weighed really heavily on me outside of the ring, and I'm gonna get into this here, and this will
Yeah,
be a lot of closure for a lot of people who don't really know what's going on in boxing.
yeah,
I sound like a sad sack on this, but it's just the truth, and that's the way I say it. I don't sit on the fence. I say it how it is, and that's the way it's got to be. And
yeah.
I had a lot of politics outside of the ring in between each of my fights,
Mm.
and Stephen Vaughan Jr. is my manager, my very good friend, and without him, I would have not have achieved the things that I've gone on to achieve, not only in boxing, but in life as well. My
Yeah,
goal with him was to make as much money as I possibly can in the ring, and you're going to help me do it. And that's how we
yeah.
used to do things. So we used to agree fees for fights, and I used to
Mm.
say, nah, lad, that's not enough. You need to pay me more. Lad, that's what you do. It's boxing. That's the business. So we always verbally agreed figures going into fights. So going into the ring, fighting Jay Harris, a figure was agreed.
Mm.
So in between that layoff after that defeat, there was a lot of talk for me to go on and do this and go on and do that and do this and do that. Because of my defeat, I felt like at the time I'm no longer getting them opportunities because I've got nothing to bring to the table to negotiate. So I just went, fuck it. For me, as a man, I've gone and bought my house. Me and my babe have gone on loads of boss holidays. I've got a few quid in the bank. I'm sorting my life out. I've got a decent job. I'm cushy. Do you know? Do you know what I mean? So then, them runs, that strength and conditioning, being in the gym when I weren't a good trainer, lad. I didn't enjoy going to the gym and smashing it. I weren't that type of fighter. I like sparring and I like doing pads. I didn't like bag work. I didn't like track. I didn't like food. And they're all parts of things to become the best.
Yeah.
And that discipline side of it, lad, after I'm bought my own house, I'm in my own comfort. No one's watching what I'm eating anymore because I'm going in my own fridge getting Freddos at fucking 10 o'clock at night with a cup of tea. And I'll be real, I was. Kerry Kayes knows all about that. So I was on plans to make weight that I was never going to make because I weren't sticking to plans. And the politics side of it didn't help with the, you're only going to get paid this for this fight now because we need to get back to here. And the way I looked at it, lad, without being like really negative, I just thought, I've got my house, got a couple of quid saved. I go on holiday every year, got a decent job. My bird's boss, she does fucking everything for me. Like, that woman, when I met her, at the point I was in my life to where I am now, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for them. Do you know what I mean? And every single fight that I had, she was there, win, lose, fucking ups, downs. She stuck by me through the whole entire ride. Do you know what I mean? Supported me when I was in a proper mad. Couple of times I was depressed, lad, like after the JR's defeat, first defeat of my career. I sat at home, and do you know what I done, lad? I just watched shit TV shows on Netflix every single day. I never went to the gym, never went on my phone, and I just eat. That's all I'd do. And lad, do you know what I was doing? This is mad, this. I'd finish work, yeah. I'd go and get a scran, and then I'd come home and have me tea.
Yeah, no, I know.
I was going and getting scrans on my own in the sandpiper. Full 3-course meal. Start to main dessert to Belter on Rainford bypass. They owe me 10% for shouting them out. But you go there, get a 3-course meal, come home, and then I'd just have me tea. And then I'd just keep doing it.
Was this what was going on between Harris and then the eventual Lopez fight? That's what was going on.
There was, I think it was a year, 14 months.
Hang on, it was something like that, wasn't it? Because I remember we went to Malta with the lads and everything in between, didn't we? There was a significant gap. So, how long after that Lopez fight did you decide that you were done?
That I decided before I had the fight.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did anyone know?
So, yeah, Geno.
Did he?
Geno and Derry. Because I said to them, the way I was training, I was struggling with the weight. I can't really make any excuses in a sense for the performance. Because a fight's a fight, lad, and I went in there and done what I had to do, and I still felt like I won the fight comfortably anyway. But I just went, I was a shadow of myself.
I remember at the time, and I'll say this as your mate and someone who was sat ringside, I thought you won, but you looked sloppy, and then so people were saying Connor wasn't great there. But then when you watched it back, there was no doubt that you'd won it.
Yeah, that was it. Crawler said it to me after it. He said, "What was up with you there?" And I went, "Do you know what, lad? I'm gonna be real. I just couldn't get up for it." And what I mean by that is, all the negative stuff that's happened outside of the ring, it plays a part. In a training camp, you're training thinking, am I going to get paid properly? Am I going to get this? Am I going to get that? And going into them little fights like that, lad, what's the point in going for the next fight on the back of that performance?
No, I know, but you say little fights, he's a featherweight as well. So
I know, but lads, even if I got back down to flyweight, it would be the same questions I'm asking myself. Training for 12 weeks, sacrificing and suffering, because boxers suffer. Like, not many people say it, but because we're hard people and we're fighters. But when you win a fight, go and ask any pro. When you win a big fight, how do you feel for 3 days after it? Go and ask anyone, and they'll all say the same thing. Lad, you're lost. You haven't got a clue. You don't know what to do. Your life for 4 months has been get up, go running, eat this at this time, go strength conditioning, go to gym, do this, do that. And when you've won, and then you're getting up and you're going to get a brekkie in Dale Street Kitchen, and you're sitting there thinking,
I love
what
the
can
way
I
you're
do
chopping the
today?
gaffs out, though, Connor. I do love the way you're
That's the way
chopping
it
the
is,
gaffs
though.
out.
That's the way I am. I used to wake up after fights and think, what can I eat today?
Yeah. Well, do you know, I was going to allude to questions about after boxing to see if you were going to stay in it in any capacity, but Derry last week sort of blew the gaff a bit doing what Derry does. Because Derry sat there in the middle of his pod, we were talking about something different, and he just goes, Connor Butler's going to be one of the best amateur coaches we've got. They were his words. He said about you jumping on the whole box cup with them and your experience just, boxing through the levels, boxing in England. So is that the plan now, to give them a touch in the amateurs?
Yeah, but this is the thing. So when I retired, me, Derry, and Geno sat down, and obviously I said it. I wanted to do it. I want to leave. I want to hang my gloves up. I want to go out on a win, lad. I've just won my
Yeah.
last fight. I've gone out on a win. I've not been remembered for the fighter that I was, but from the belts that I've won and the history and career that I've had from an amateur like we've spoke about today.
Yeah.
Could speak for hours about it, but
Yeah.
for me it was just the friends that I've made. I've met me bird through going to Derry's gym and changing my life. All these opportunities and experiences that I've had throughout my career. I was content in my life. I was content in my lifestyle. I didn't really want to train anymore because it was hard. So
Yeah.
I wanted the next chapter of my life, and the next chapter of my life is completing my house, starting my own business eventually, and having a family with me missus who stuck by me through absolutely everything, and that's what I wanna do, and
Yeah. You're
Geno
still a
knows
young
that.
man, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm still 28 years of age, lad, and there's a life to live after boxing, a very fun life filled with plenty more things to go and nail, to go and do.
Yeah. Yeah, of
And
course.
I'm so routine from the discipline that I've had through my career that I will go and accomplish all of them things, and that's what I'm looking at next. And Derry and Geno was like, you've got to come back and give back knowledge. And when I first, oh no, it's not fucking for me. I've done 20 years as a fighter.
Yeah.
I've sacrificed 20 years of my life. I've done a life sentence to boxing. I've
Yeah.
had me fruit. I've won a couple of belts. I've got a good career, got loads of stories, loads of memories, loads of friends. Like I could walk up to you in the street and go for a coffee. Like
Yeah.
you've got people who you can just bounce off, and that was the thing that I've took away. And retiring, lad, people think it's a sad thing. Lads, the best thing I've ever done, the biggest weight off my shoulders saying it, and just accepting the fact that. And people will go, oh, fucking hell, he could have gone back and had another fight and done this. Yeah, but lad, like, until you've lived at them shoes, you don't know what's actually going on.
No, you don't. And even as a boxing fan, though, Con, how many have we seen carry on without the fire there, or when
And look what
carried on?
happens to them.
And look it never ends well, does it?
Nah, never does. And listen, everyone's in it for finances. Listen, if fucking Turkey Al Sheikh got his checkbook out, I'd go and sit in a sauna for a week, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, no,
I
but
would never
that is
fight
it.
again, lads. I never would, because I've done it. I've done it since I was 5, and lad, I don't want to be angry and fighting all the time. I just want to be an old man and get a belly on me and just chill.
So how did they manage to drag you to the whole box cup then, if it wasn't your plan to
Derry
get
kept
into
fucking
coaching?
telling me to come back to gym and
Yeah.
help out with the lads and me. If I'm doing something, I'm doing it properly.
Yeah.
So I started going back, just watching it first. And then obviously the lads were like a family in Derry's gym. Big Divine, Sonny, you've got Dylan, all these lads that have come and watched me all over the world boxing. Like
Yeah.
watching all of my pro fights, looking up to me as a fighter. So now I'm in the gym and they're making mistakes and I'm correcting them and showing them. And before you know it, lad, Luke goes and wins the ABAs by knocking everyone out.
Yeah.
And then he's coming up to me in the gym going, can you show me this? And it's like,
So then,
all of a sudden, I'm in the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday. My bird's going, are we going Nando's tonight or what? Nah, girl, I'm in the gym. Do you know what I
well,
mean?
that was the other comment that he said, because what you said about training was, he said you'd be the best amateur coach they've had. He did say that, honestly. Go back and watch it on my YouTube channel. But he also said you're more dedicated to that than you were your own sessions.
Not half. Well, this is it,
That's
because
what he said.
we went away with Divine the other week, and Geno was on holiday with his wife. And listen, boxing coaches, I've known them since I was 10.
Yeah.
Lad, you've got a wife, kids at home, you've got a full-time day job,
Yeah.
but you're in the gym 5 nights a week, lad. Going to championships on every single weekend. Derry
Yeah.
Matthews is up every day at 5 o'clock and doesn't get in his house till 8 o'clock every day.
It's mental,
And then
isn't it?
and then he goes to his bed on a Friday. I'm going away this weekend for the whole box cup.
Yeah. They've got box cups all summer, haven't they?
Lad, I went to him, lad, I need a day off. I've only been coaching for
Yeah.
fucking 2 months.
Are you getting any
So,
pleasure out of it though, Con?
lad, I love it. At
Do
first, I
you?
didn't think I would, because I said to Jenno and Derry, and I'll tell you as well, when I have my own babies, like my own family, which me and my babe are planning soon, spoiler alert, if anyone's keeping tabs. But when we're ready, lad, when we start our own family, I don't want to be in the gym 5 nights a week. I want to
No, well,
watch my kids grow up,
yeah, of course, yeah.
and that's the sacrifice that a boxing coach, who does it for free, by the way. There's no financial gain out of it.
Yeah.
From grassroots boxing, there's no financial gain out of boxing till you defend your first title. Let me
Yeah.
make that abundantly clear. Unless you're getting a big, massive TV deal straight away. Um,
Yeah.
So, and it's what you do with your money, Robbie. You know, how many fighters have spunked the door up the wall and walked away from boxing with nothing?
No, I know. I know.
And I
So
had
if you
the likes of Jenno and Eddie and people around me who were close to me, friends, that said, go and buy a house, Con. Go and put your money into your house. Save a little bit
Yeah.
of money for a rainy day. Do this, do that. And fortunately enough, I'm happy. I'm all right. I can go and get a
well that
chippy if I want one.
as we said, I think the biggest thing that we take away, I know we said that at the start and we'll say it again at the end, is that you've retired boxing. Boxing hasn't retired you. You've gone out on your terms, you've gone out on a win. How would you sum it up if you had to just do a couple of words to sum up boxing to Connor Butler? Like what words would you use to describe your journey? Because I think it's unbelievable when you think what you said there, starting with Teddy, was it a Thai boxing when you were 5 through to
Yeah.
now, you know, boxing live on the zone, winning Fight Zone, winning European Commonwealth titles, headlining on the zone. It has been some journey, hasn't it? So, like, ups and downs, but what would be your biggest takeaway from it?
My biggest takeaway from boxing, in a way to sum it up for me, is friendship and family. Because boxing, and I don't tell many people this, boxing is a poor man's sport. It's a sport for people who, not everyone, but most kids. You go and ask any gym in the country, you've got a kid in there that's in the gym because they want to better their life, because they've not got stuff going on at home, or they've not got much money, they're not doing well in school, they've got other things going on. So boxing, they just gravitate towards it. Opportunity can be made by fighting.
Yeah.
But for me, the biggest thing was family, friendship, and emotion.
Oh,
Because boxing will make you a man when you're a kid.
yeah.
It'll teach you morals. You look at the coaches in the gym, and lad, I still look at people to this day. Geno's an absolute god to me. The
Yeah.
Mojito King. He's like, I could do anything for him. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Derry, another one. Derry's the most humble, honest man you'll ever meet in your life. And then you meet
Well,
people
what I
like,
will say there, Con, that be. Go on.
go on, what was you saying?
No, go
It
on.
froze then.
No, go on, go on. Yeah, if it froze on us and I stopped you mid flow, so go on, you finish. Sorry.
And then you've got like friendships that you make, sparring partners, lads in the gym. And before you know it, lads, you're in their house having dinner with them and that, and going out for scrans with them, reflecting on your career, what to do. I feel like I'm giving young pros advice now as well. People are asking me questions, and
Yeah.
the old Connor Butler a few years ago would be like, just ignore it. I wouldn't even, not big on social media anyway. I don't do it intentionally, but people send me messages and I don't even see them. And it's not being rude. It's
Yeah.
just, I'm too busy in my day to, without being audible, to sit there for an hour on my phone and type to everyone.
Yeah. Well, Connor, I'd say the longest podcast I've done before has been 45
Boss
minutes. We've
lad,
done
I've
an hour and
enjoyed it.
40. So thank you very much for that. I think the takeaways at the end are something everyone can take from. So thank you for joining us. And I'm going to stop the recording. I'll just have a little chat with you when we finish, if that's okay.
Yeah, Belter. I really appreciate you having me on and giving me a chance to tell me little story and the way my career's gone. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. I'll see you.